So I decided to make my own Florida water. I don't know if those of you who are in spirituality use Florida water. A lot of times people get the Murray's Florida water, but I decided to make my own. Now I use my Florida water. I always dab some on my throat and the back of my neck before I'm getting ready to do a speaking engagement. If I'm going into a room where there's a lot of people, I put Florida water on in my hands, rub my hands together. I even clean my desk area with Florida water, put a little dab on the actual desk. I don't even use a cloth to get it, dab it with, but I pour it on. Then I use clean soft cloth to wipe the Florida water down on the desk. So there are many uses for me spiritually with Florida water. And this time when I ran out, I said, you know what, Lynn? Why don't you make your own? Whatever you need to do to make your own, do your own. So that's what I did. I researched for weeks, different recipes, online, offline, looked at different ingredients that I wanted to put in there and what the spiritual benefits were for each of the ingredients that I put in. So here is my rendition of Florida water for me. First, I put in the rose petals. You saw that. And then second, I put in the rosemary. The rose petals, they bring peace. They represent peace, harmony. The rosemary is for protection, heightens intuition. And if you notice, just wanted to bring this to your attention, you notice that the room is kind of dark. And you notice I have a bonnet on. The bonnet on is specifically to cover my head. It's not because I'm getting ready to go to bed. But if I'm doing any kind of spiritual anything, I always give myself a cleansing either bath or shower, and then I cover my head. And that's to protect myself spiritually. I'm putting the rue leaves in there now. Rue is for protection as well. But I always cover my head to make sure that I am cleansed and protected. And I would suggest that to any of you who are into spirituality. If you do any card pulling, any praying for anyone, cover your head to protect yourself spiritually. I put the baby's breath in there because baby's breath, it symbolizes purity, cleansing. So I put that in there. I had a lot of baby's breath, so I went ahead on and put that in. And also, I got my rose petals from the grocery store. Got the rose petals from the grocery store. I already had the rue for something else, for a little bag I made. And you can see now I have a grapefruit. So I have citrus, oranges, lemon, grapefruit, and lime. I had a difficult time peeling the lime. Very difficult time peeling the lime. But I put the grapefruit peel in, and I put the lime, a portion of the lime peel, the orange peel, and the lemon peel. I didn't have too much of a problem with that. But I put those down there in the bottom. But yes, so if you want to make your own, this is what I wanted to say too. If you want to make your own Florida water, make it yours. You know what you want. You know the uses that you want to use your Florida water for. For me, it's always for protection. It's always like when I'm gonna have a speaking engagement and I put some Florida water, because I used to get Murray's Florida water. And I always pray before I use it. I always pray before I apply any Florida water anywhere, whether I'm wiping a desk down, whether I'm wiping down a work area down. I'm praying, I set my intentions, and then I use the Florida water. So when I use the Florida water on my throat and on the back of my neck. I always pray that Spirit would allow me to say what I should say. That I'm not up here saying any old thing out of my mouth, that I'm not functioning in ego, that I'm not being offensive, that I don't hurt anyone's feelings deliberately on purpose. So I want to make sure that the things that I say out of my mouth are uplifting, are loving, are caring. Even if it might be a hard conversation I might have to have with someone, I still want to make sure that conversation is one that a person can leave away from with their dignity still intact. You can have a tough conversation and not have to have someone feel like trash when the conversation is over. Everyone should always be able to walk away from you, no matter how hard the topic is, or how tough the topic is, or how touchy the topic is. They should always be able to walk away from you with their dignity still intact. Remember that. It's key. I've had plenty of conversations where I have left and my dignity was not intact. I felt like trash. The other person didn't care about how they delivered whatever it was that they were delivering to me. So I say all that to say, Florida water helps with controlling what you say out of your mouth. When you put it on your throat and you pray and you set those intentions, that's what I do. Every time I do a live or a video, I always put Florida water on. All the time. So that might be something that you may want to do. There are many uses for Florida water. Many. You can look them up. I can do a video about the uses of Florida water, spiritual uses of Florida water, if you would like for me to. Florida water used to be a cologne years and years ago. I think back in the 1800s. I think I studied that. It was 1800s, something like that, 1820. But it used to be a cologne that people wore for the purpose of cologne. And then as time went on, it became part of people's spiritual practices. And so that's how it kind of became a thing. It switched from cologne to using in people's spiritual practices. So if you would like for me to do a video on the uses of Florida water, just let me know in the comments. And I'll be happy to do that. So as you can see, I'm still peeling my citrus. I'm not sure if that's a lime. I think that is a lime. It's a lime or an orange. Peeling my citrus and putting it in there. Also, too, my room is not light. If you notice, the only light that I have on, because there is a light beside the jar, and that's a 64-ounce jar. I'm going to get back to that in a minute. But the only light that I have on in there, well, I do have some blue. You can see that blue little lights in the ceiling. But there's no bright white light. And I have my pink Himalayan salt lamp on. Can you see? That's anyway, I'm sorry. My pink Himalayan salt lamp. I have that on. And even that is for spiritual reasons. Because it gives off a certain type of energy, and it has a certain kind of energy that it exudes in the room. And so I try to make sure that my whole environment is of a positive nature. Next, I'm getting ready to put in thyme. And I got the thyme, I think I got the thyme from the grocery store. Thyme wards off evil spirits. And the citrus is for protection as well. And the Florida water in general, the way that I use it, because people, like I said, it has plenty of uses. But the way that I use it is for protection. So I put the thyme in, and next I think I have the sage. Yeah, that was time. Next, I'm going to put in sage. And sage is for spiritual cleansing. I know a lot of people burn sage. And even with sage, I just want to say, when you burn your sage and you're trying to get rid of negative spirits, you're cleansing your area. And sage is also good for actually cleansing in terms of germs as well. But when you burn that sage and you're cleansing your area and you're cleansing your energy, make sure that right behind the sage, you burn your Palo Santo sticks, because the Palo Santo brings in and attracts the positive energy. And anytime you're burning sage, make sure that your window is cracked. You have some kind of cracked window in the area where you're burning the sage, so that the negative energy can escape your room. Because you're saging and you're saying you're cleansing and all of that, well, we need to have a place for that negative energy to go. And you open that window, release that energy, close the window once you finish saging, and then Palo Santo. Burn that Palo Santo right behind it to attract positive energy. And cinnamon sticks are for abundance, prosperity, goodness. I don't know, one of my practices also is to blow cinnamon into my house the first of every month. I do that, and I burn a bay leaf the first of every month. I burn the bay leaf for abundance as well. And abundance can come in many forms. It doesn't just have to be money. Abundance can come in any form. So don't always just get set on, oh, I want money, money, money. And that's the Palo Santo sticks I'm putting in. I'm putting Palo in there. I think I put about 2 or 3 sticks. As you can see, this jar is packed. This is my actual first time making the Florida water, so I know some adjustments I'm going to do for next time. That's the 3rd stick. That's a 64-ounce jar. So if you have a 64-ounce jar, you're going to want to have enough alcohol. Some people do 100 proof vodka, or I did the rubbing alcohol, 91%. And if you do that, make sure you get enough to fill the ingredients in your glass jar. That's something I didn't take into account at all. I think I got 2 16-ounce jars of alcohol. So the next day, what I did was I went and got some more alcohol, and so that I was able to fill it up to the top. With this particular jar of Florida water, from what I studied, you can let it sit for 6 to 8 weeks. I chose to do this Florida water, to make this Florida water on the super moon. October the 17th was a super moon. So I did it on a super moon because I figured with the super moon, it was the brightest moon of the year. So can you imagine the kind of energy that moon was exuding? So I made it that night, how powerful that the energy of that moon was. So I made it that night. And then 2 weeks after that, I took the Florida water, shook it up on the new moon. And then I'm going to shake it up 2 weeks later on the full moon again. That'll be a month. And then 2 weeks after that, I'm going to shake it up on the new moon. So I made it on the full, shake it on the new, shake it again on the full, and then 2 weeks after that, you can open it and use it. It's up to you. It's up to you. But when it's ready, I'm going to strain the water, the quote unquote water, the spiritual water. I'm going to strain it and use it that way. And so we're on I think we're coming up on week 3. This Wednesday will be week 3, so we have 3 more weeks to go. And I gave it a good shake. Up and down, top to bottom. And there's Lynn's Florida water. Thank you. See you soon.